When we create containers of opportunity, the universe becomes eager to make the most of them. This is Skull Babylon, and you're about to listen to episode 109 of Paradigm Shift Radio, a holographic mystery episode. For this episode, the intention was to keep things open for anyone to call in and to bring on topics of their choosing. We were joined by numerous callers, and in theme with the episode, if you would like to go into it with the mystery, then turn your ears off for the next 30 seconds as I tell you what it features. On this episode, we were joined by our good friend Michael Brazel as we talked about spirituality and sexual identity. From there, we were joined by Elias, who shared with us his very vivid and meaningful dream about alien wizards. After that, AJ joined us to share some gratitude and more related to sexuality. We were then joined by Scott Love to talk about the 3 Days of Light Festival happening again in North Carolina. Mark from Arkansas joined us to talk about his perception on the shift and his eagerness to learn more. Jessica Starshine added some ideas about the importance of being able to let go of beliefs, and Michael Pratt shared with us some insight about his recent and rare experience inside a Gnostic ceremonial mass. Paradigm Shift Radio is constantly evolving because we are constantly evolving. Be a part of the ongoing expansion of the universe by sharing the show with your friends and inviting them to check out more inspiring conscious media at ParadigmShiftCentral.com. Join us again for future episodes, live in the mystery, and enjoy the show. One love.
Friends, family, seekers, shifters, lovers. This is your good buddy Brendon. Thank you so much for being here once again. This is another community connecting crystallization episode of Paradigm Shift Radio here live tonight. The date, according to time, time doesn't exist, only clocks do. According to time, it is September 28th, 2014. This is episode 109 of Paradigm Shift Radio. And tonight on the episode, we got something really special. And of course, I say that every episode, and that's because this is about an opportunity for us to be able to co-create together as a collective community. This is about us being able to create our own media. This is about us being able to create an active archive of our ongoing shift in consciousness. The show itself is an ongoing documentation. Not everything that we need to do needs to exist in pictures and movies. We're fortunate to be blessed with the magic of the internet. And through that, it makes it super easy for us to be able to come together in this digital space once again. So tonight on Paradigm Shift Radio, this is going to be a holographic mystery episode, and that's just kind of, as I said in the prelude to the show, kind of just a fancy way to say that we're inviting anybody to call in. We're inviting anyone to be able to help reveal what the mystery of this show is, in the sense that we don't entirely know what will happen because we haven't figured out exactly who's going to call in. So it's up to you to seize this opportunity. If you want to be able to get heard by a global audience, which is exactly what Paradigm Shift has the outlet to do, it gives you a platform to be able to get your message across to people all across the world. And again, the show is themed around the idea of collective education, collective inspiration. So keep that in mind with whatever it is that you're sharing, but we do encourage you to bring whatever it is that your heart feels it wants to bring onto the show, be it an idea, be it a question, be it an experience, be it a theory, whatever it is, be it a dream, be it a vision, be it an intention, whatever it is. We want to hear from you guys tonight, and we'll try to get through quite a variety of callers. And just a little bit of community news before we bring on the first caller. I just want to be able to share with you guys some of the positive news that has happened locally within the last couple of days for me here. Of course, those of you who haven't checked out, ParadigmShiftCentral.com is the main project. Through there's individual Paradigm Shift communities all across the world. I myself am with Paradigm Shift London, Ontario, Canada. Through the ongoing development of the Paradigm Shift London community, the opportunity for me to get involved with a conscious festival in my community arose. And though there was a moment where I was just like, do I do this? But ultimately it was a response to the question, if not me, then who? And I knew that the universe was asking of me to be able to help provide its efforts to help create this conscious festival. And the festival itself was called Look Festival. And along with the help of some amazing other people, and shout out to Jessica Conlon, she is a driving force behind this. I began this community festival 5 years previous to this. And this year, being able to actively engage myself as more of an organizing role and a hosting role, it was an amazing experience. There was a lot of healing that took place there. Conscious festivals is a thing that I'm very closely related to, and I think a lot of us here who are interested in all this consciousness shifting stuff are attracted to the idea of conscious festivals, whether they be 3 Days of Light, whether they be the Lucidity Festival, any of these. Those are just a couple of the other ones that I've experienced. What I helped create here in London was just a mini version to be able to help bring some of the flavor of that into my local community, with the intention to be able to help bring community together and to further that inspiration even further. So this is just what I want to tell you guys. Some of the amazing things that happened that day that can happen where you are is part of the reason why I'm sharing it. We had some amazing drum circles. We had some healing and we had some discussion circles that were very healing. And the discussion circles took place on chairs, and then next to the chairs we actually had a pillow pile. So I told everyone, I'm like, all right, everyone, just bring a bunch of blankets and pillows and we'll put them on the ground in the park, and then people will be able to chill out there. And there were people getting massages there and doing group Reiki sessions. And then throughout the day there was all sorts of interactive communication, discussion, ongoing interactive art, music, and free hugs, of course. I busted out the free hug signs, and that was really good because the festival didn't have a heck of a lot of people, but because it was just in a small location, but it was still very potent. And when the free hug signs came out, it was a wonderful experience. Those of you who've been tuned into this before, we always reiterate the importance of doing things like free hugs, just the ability for them to be able to make someone's day and also connect them to you in that experience, and be able to help connect them into your community at whatever level it exists, whether it be a paradigm shift community or whether it just be something personal between you and that stranger at the time who suddenly becomes a friend. And just the awesome part about that is that there's even just the young kids who got really excited about being able to engage in the free hugs. And one of the younger girls, very, very polite, just came up to me at the end. She's like, "Can I take this home with me, the free hug sign?" And I'm like, "Yes, absolutely. Go share it with your friends. Hugs are an unlimited supply, and it's an amazing simple thing that we can do to help change the world." So that's just part of what I wanted to be able to share with you guys, to let you know that this festival happened and it was a success. And from here, the ongoing adventure continues. And I encourage other people to build the community where they are. I posted up a video the other day, live broadcasted message. You can find it on my YouTube at youtube.com/SkullBabylon. If you haven't subscribed to that, please do, and check that out. And there's lots of other videos. You can find the playlist for the Paradigm Shift Inspiration Station through there. And those are community created videos from other members of the community. And we invite anyone to be able to contribute their videos. So other than that, letting you guys know that the festival was awesome. Good times had by all, and now we're here. And then some other cool news I just wanted to share with you guys is that this Thursday, DubFX is going to be performing in my hometown of London. And I've actually contacted him, and I'm going to actually be able to get the opportunity to sit down and meet with him and do a video interview. And I think that's a really cool thing, because it just goes to show that he's very grounded, he's very just humble, and he's not like out of the reach just because he's become very popular. He's using his role as a quote-unquote celebrity, but rather, celebrity, what does that even mean? But he's an artist who has the attention of many, many people. He's using that attention to be able to help promote a positive message of love. So I'm very excited to be able to talk to him, to be able to see what it is, what message he has to share, continuous to the theme of inspiration. So that would be really cool. I'll let you guys know how that goes when I get to meet up with DubFX. If you don't know who DubFX is, run a search, DubFX on YouTube, DUBFX. He's got some great music. That's what we played in the prelude for the show. But again, just want to be able to share that with you guys. So other than that, got some other news that I want to be able to share with you guys real quick. This is worthwhile. In this episode, we're doing something very special. Those of you who know in the past know that with the movies that I've done, one of them was the 3 Days of Light movie, and that was a festival that I attended in 2012, and it was in North Carolina, near Asheville. It's happening again this year, and it's actually happening next weekend. It's happening from October 3rd to October 6th-ish, or October 5th. That would make more sense. And it's 3 days. And what we're going to do in this episode is we're actually going to provide you guys a chance to win a ticket to the festival. We've done this before in the previous year, and I want to be able to provide it again. We've been in contact just recently with Scott Love, who's one of the organizers, and he put forward the idea, and we're actually going to have Scott on a little later in the episode between the other callers that we have in the meantime. But if you want to get your name entered into the draw for 3 Days of Light, which again is a conscious festival in North Carolina from October 3rd to 5th, lots of workshops, lots of music, lots of conscious people. It's a soul family reunion is one of the best ways I can think of it. And even if you might not be in Asheville, feel free to enter your name into the draw by sending a message. This is how you enter for the free ticket. Send a message to facebook.com/paradigmshiftradio and let us know that you want to be entered into the draw for 3DL. And at the same time, if you want to enter into the draw for the free shift buttons, you can do that also. So by sending a message to the show tonight, you're entering in for the 3 Days of Light draw. So if you have entered in for buttons previously, send in a separate message tonight to let us know that you want to enter in for the 3 Days of Light ticket to go to the festival. So again, send a message to facebook.com/ParadigmShiftRadio. I will post a link for that in the live chat, unless somebody else can do it for me. But in the meantime, I just want to be able to remind you guys that festivals like these are happening all over the place. So it's a really awesome opportunity for us to be able to help give you guys a chance to go to them. And I know you'll have an amazing experience. And in the meantime, feel free to go back and watch 3 Days of Light and get excited to be able to get a taste of what that experience is going to be like for you. And you can go to 3dlgathering.com. That's the number 3dlgathering.com. And I'll post a link for that in the live chat. So I just want to be able to let you guys know that that is an awesome opportunity that is right here, right now, that you guys can get involved with. So again, send a message to facebook.com/ParadigmShiftRadio and like the page. Last thing I just want to remind you guys is that Facebook sucks, and we need to do all that we can to overcome its oppression against us wanting to access the information that is within our interest. The best way how we can get around this, in addition to sharing the show, which I encourage you to do right now, share the show. This show is a way for people to get connected with community on so many ways to get educated. But if you have liked the facebook.com/ParadigmShiftRadio page, I need you to take one more step. Go to the page again on Facebook, hover your mouse over the like button, and then a little drop-down thingy will appear. Click on Get Notifications. Through that, it will just show up in your main news feed. Instead of relying on Facebook telling you when I post things, you'll get the feeds automatically. So that's just one of the ways to make sure that you guys are getting what we're putting out, opposed to being censored by the tyranny of Facebook. So together we are strong. And again, please continue to share the show as we get moving into it right about now. So if you want to add me on Facebook, do so at facebook.com/SkullBabylon. And of course, I invite anybody else throughout the episode to share their profiles into the live chat if they're in the live chat. And that will be an invitation for other people to add you. So with that said, we're going to move into the first caller who we have on the line, and that's caller from area code 757. And again, I'm not entirely sure who this is, and that's the mystery of this episode. And Michael Brazel may be joining us at some point. I invited him in to co-host, but in the meantime, we're going to see where this show goes, what the universe wants to create in this moment through the actions, through the free will that we are putting forth. So welcome to Paradigm Shift Radio, everybody. Again, share the show. We're getting into this right now. Let's delve into the mystery, into the holographic mystery of this episode. So caller from area code 757, we're going to bring you on to Paradigm Shift Radio. Here we go.
Hey,
hello.
It's Mike Brazel.
Hey, oh. Well, that's kind of anticlimactic. You could have lied or something. It's all right.
Could have lied.
Hey, Mike.
Said, President Obama or something.
This is Obama. Hey, you guys. Anyway. All right. Well, welcome to the show, Michael. Do you have any enlightening mysteries or educational insight that you can share with us in the meantime?
Let's see. Yeah, just breathe. Everyone's kind of holding their breath these days. Like lots of craziness going on in the world, lots of craziness going on Facebook. It's just we're in an upheaval cycle globally. So just breathe, regardless of what's happening. Just don't forget to breathe. And listen to Paradigm Shift Radio. So.
Yeah. Because that's what we do.
The show, yeah.
Yeah, every week we just come on here and remind you to breathe for 2 hours straight. That's pretty much all it is, just this guy's conversation. So yeah, but it's worthwhile because we don't breathe, nothing else gets done. So that's step one. So I agree. So cool. All right. What about any? Because those who may not know Michael Brazel, he's, long story short, he's a witch. And he's into all sorts of very interesting things, be it practical magic and also just like tips to be able to like integrate and observe our own psychology to be able to work our way through this reality on a multitude of levels. Is there anything? Are you writing any books that at this moment, or do you have any other insight that you can share with the people out there? We'll move into another caller in the next minute after this.
Yeah, so like right now I'm working on getting my blog back up and active, and I'm working more with doing soul development, so helping people to connect to their soul, like coming into presence. I'll be doing a series of blog posts for the LGBT community, specifically for men who love men, and the blog posts are going to be specifically geared towards the spirituality of the gay soul and understanding things like gay shame, internalized homophobia, how we can engage community, how we can heal those wounds in our community. So we'll be doing some stuff specific to that over the next few weeks, and maybe creating a Facebook group for people who want to get involved in a conversation, because I feel like it's one thing to put information out there, but it's another thing to actually take it and have engagement and to do something with that. But a lot of the stuff I'm doing now is really getting people in touch with their soul dynamics, like embracing the soul current, doing ritual, engaging the magical side of working with intuition, and being more applicable about the stuff that we're doing. So it's great that we know about sacred geometry, but what do we do with that? Like, how does it impact my everyday experience, and what can I do to take that into something that's more tangible? So bridging that step and getting people more integrated with their spirituality. Like coming on a show like this and talking about it is so great, and it lets us really get into the conversation. But beyond that, going out now and taking that that consciousness and putting it out into the spaces around us, like going out, like you're doing, holding signs, creating like mini festivals. Like you can hold a festival with just like 20 friends, just get out into a park and invite some people and see what happens. So taking that next step and being more action-oriented with spirituality. So that's pretty much the path that I'm on at the moment.
Awesome, man. Yeah, and that's something that I think is so important for people to be able to continue to take steps towards figuring out who their authentic self is. It's interesting because, that's something that can change, and we sort of move our way through preferences and things like that. But so much of what we're doing, again, is letting go of things that we've sort of built up unconsciously over the years. Right. And as we do, it allows us like love for the self. And when we love ourselves, we can love other people. And I think it's great that you're doing it, and especially when you're reaching out to the niche audience of the gay community, the LGBT community, and to be able to just like say like, hey, let's be able to talk about whatever it is that we want to talk about as a community, and to be able to just like say that like understanding sexuality goes hand in hand with spiritual progression. And right. I think it's a really like that's something that it's come up here and there on Paradigm Shift Radio, and I mean we'll see where the episode goes tonight, because I put up an interesting post that I was saving for a whole nother episode that maybe next week, just all about the importance of cultivating sexual energy and realizing just like how much value that has, because it ripples. When we cultivate that, it ripples into every other action that we do in our life with a little bit more oomph to it and a little bit more motivation to it. But like in terms of the mystery of the holographic nature of reality, part of that is exploring our own sexuality. And I think what's very interesting is that I think maybe more so obvious with like people who are listening to the show right now, but I think it's almost become like more common for people to realize that like within everyone, like no one is 100% straight in a sense, like everyone's just sort of like naturally like both, because it's the idea that like we refer to ourselves as feminine and masculine, yet consciousness itself is neither. Consciousness itself is kind of like the one which the duality comes out of. So just something like that, like it's, I think people can learn to become more comfortable with the idea of like being able to find beauty in any of the human forms. And it's just an interesting part along the path. But if you have something you just want to add in on, whatever, feel free.
Well, our constructs on sexuality are changing. People are embracing both masculine and feminine qualities. And I think it even goes beyond having to label it as masculine and feminine. We're just embracing the qualities that we are. And I think that, as generations progress, we're breaking out of these old paradigms where, only boys do this, only girls do that. Now boys wear dresses and, wear pink, and it's fine. It's wonderful. And, girls can do any job they want to do. They can be construction workers if they want. We're breaking out of these ideas that gender has to dictate what we do, how we act, and how we perceive the world around us. But in that too, and specifically in the gay community, because I can't speak for the rest of the alphabet, but I know in the gay community specifically, many of us try to live up to overculture and what overculture says that men should do and men should be. And what happens in that is we become fractured in trying to keep up with what overculture dictates manhood is. So it's about defining our own spirituality and learning how to construct community that's supportive and allows us to express ourselves as men who love men, or women who love women, or as the transgendered community, or as it requires us to get into it as niches and look at what's needed to heal so that we can become more powerful in our spirituality, more powerful in how we engage the world. Because it's not about me blending in with society, it's about me owning myself as I am part of this greater reality. And it's not giving up the idea of being able to stand out and to be myself or to be yourself. It's about really just being in ownership of just being, and I think we do try to hold on to ideas that, we have to do this to be masculine or we have to do that to be feminine. But I think, even the nature of relationships are changing. People are polyamorous now. Open relationships are more the norm. People are exploring, and I think it's beautiful that we're in a time now that allows exploration, and being able to talk about sacred sexuality. Because, aside from birth and death, sex is the next most powerful spiritual experience that we have. And being sex positive and being able to talk about sex in a way that isn't shaming us for talking about sex. Because a lot of times, we're taught to shame it. We're taught not to touch ourselves when we're little. We're taught, not to look at these things. But we live in a very sexualized society. You just turn TV on and everything becomes sexualized. So we have to have these conversations so we can have sex-positive direction versus, shaming ourselves or shaming each other for bringing topics up. So it's good. It's definitely good. And those are definitely some conversations that definitely need to be had.
Yeah, and that was something that actually came up in a recent conversation, and I'll just make this point, and then we'll bring on another caller. But yeah, like one of the last things we need to do when we're talking about, how do we change the world and everything like that, and we're noticing things in our culture, and this is related, but sort of on a different angle. My point is, it's not worth it for us to shame other people. Shaming people is sort of like a counterproductive way of going about things. Rather, I think it's best when we can sort of lead by example. And I think that is what is happening more and more, and especially with people who are listening to the show through the inspiration that they're gaining and through the idea of they're saying like, hey, I'm seeing a lot of other people who are stepping into more confidence, and it's making me more confident as well, because when you see someone who is just like strong in themselves, it gives permission to other people to find that strength as well, and the confidence with who they are, and again, going back to the authenticity of whatever it is that they choose to be, and in a lot of ways, that's the idea. We can constantly sort of choose who it is that we want to be, and again, like, I don't think that choosing who to be should sort of be limited by these ideas of gender, and I think it's a beautiful thing now that we see more and more people who sort of fit into this role of gender non-conforming, and like there's so I know, like, more than I can count female friends who quite naturally are confident with, like, not shaving their armpits and having hair on their legs. And they're still, like, super beautiful and everything like that, right? And for me, too, like, it's not even something that, like, I cringe about or whatever. Yet there was a point where, like, growing up, I was just in my brain, I'm like, according to society, I'm supposed to think that's really, really weird. And then eventually, like, I'm just like, yeah, whatever, like, screw society. That's society's idea, not mine. Like, nothing tells me that I can't see the beauty in anything. So, yeah, that was just something that came to mind. But, yeah, I encourage women out there to try that experience for themselves and to love themselves, regardless of whether or not they choose to shave their armpits and everything like that. And just to, like, it's always interesting when it sort of sparks conversation with other people. But sometimes you just need to, like, stretch your arms up into the air and show off your beautiful female armpits to get some other girls thinking, and then that sparks conversation. So not shaving your armpits is a form of shiftivism. There you go. That's my point. So. Fight the power, yeah. All right. Well, Michael, if there's anything else you just want to add real quick, we're going to bring on another caller in 1 minute.
Yeah, I think we've set a good tone for, things to come. But if anyone does want to join me in that conversation, so I'm going to be starting it this week. So I'm going to do a series of blog posts on dealing with gay spirituality specifically. So if anyone wants to be part of the discussion when I create the group, you can always just drop me a Facebook message at facebook.com/ mbrazel, and I posted the link in the chat room. So
perfect, awesome,
there you have
awesome.
it.
And again, and Michael does his weekly, like, or multiple episodes throughout the week of his Blog Talk radio show. And again, that's blogtalk.com/Michael Brazel.
That's correct.
Yeah, okay, cool. And we'll throw another link into that, and that'll be in the show notes in the YouTube for this episode. All right, cool. So with that said, let's bring on another caller. So caller from area code 512, we're going to bring you onto the air, and we'll go from there. So caller from area code 512, bringing you on to Paradigm Shift Radio. Here we go.
Hello. What's up, bro?
Hello. Is this Elias?
Yeah, this is Elias, bro.
Right on, man. Awesome. Well, welcome to Paradigm Shift Radio.
Yeah, I'm actually really proud to call myself a shifter. I've been around since your project started up, man, and I got to say, man, you're doing some real amazing work out there.
That's awesome, man. Yeah. Elias, we're buddies on Facebook and stuff, and he always posts like really cool like images that are sort of like picking out on like comic book characters, dropping some esoteric knowledge. So yeah, no, it's really interesting. But yeah, you were saying earlier you planned on calling in. You said you got a spooky story about wizards and dream aliens or something like that. Did you want to share that? Did you want to get into that?
Basically, yeah, I'm going to get into it. But first, let me explain this. I found y'all, I found the community Paradigm Shift. I found you guys through something I'm just going to go through real quick before I explain the little story. I found y'all through a friend who showed me a symbol. I showed the symbol to my cousin. She said, follow the owl. The owl was the top of my friend's spiritual totem pole, and he freaking was like spirit science. And I watched all them episodes, and then he said he met you. Then I hooked up with you, and I was like, what's up, man? And here we are today. But, here it goes. Basically, if you've ever been drawn anywhere by like a source of power, and I think you saw that one post I put with Tesla up there, Skull, where he said like something about, all of our knowledge and stuff coming from a source, but only knowing it exists, not knowing how to penetrate it. I feel like that source exists, and it like wills us to do things, to ascend or whatever. And like sometimes I'll get drawn to certain places, like during astro projections. And I got drawn to this place, and I saw these race of aliens talking to this other race of aliens. And these guys were like looking at these guys. And if you ever watched Star Trek, when you saw an evil empire sitting to blow up someone else's planet, that's basically what was going down. And these guys were like little bitty alien wizards with little tiny green cloaks. They were like little midgets. But they had like a sister planet with aliens with they were tall, and they had blue cloaks. And basically the Star Trek Federation looking dudes and 3 old white dudes with like superpowers. I'll explain it more as we go. Trust me, I know it sounds random, but it was so real. Like I could smell the blood. I could see it all. It's like the universe wanted me to see that, these people had this planet, and they got, like, genocided by, like, what they thought was their own people. All the blue wizards killed all the green ones.
This is all in a dream.
Man.
Just to verify, I'm not sure if we actually, like... Yeah, it's like a post this happened last weekend.
I mean, you can believe what you want, but, like... I mean, it didn't feel like a dream. Like, it's just only happened twice. I've only been drawn to 2 other places before, other than this one. So really, it's like 3 times. But this happening, I just saw it, and I tried to go back to my body, and the 3 dudes ran up on me. And they were like, "You're not supposed to be here." And then I got transported somewhere else on Earth. And the dudes had immense strength. Like, I tried to move past them and go away from them, and they just, like, had an iron ninja grip on me. And something I was focusing energy on, I was channeling energy into something, a long time ago because I was trying to test a theory of mine. But in a way, I guess I manifested whatever its energy towards me, and it was a stick, and I used it to hit the dudes. And I ran away. Woke up, was like, yep, I'm not going out there anytime soon. But yeah, it was scary. I didn't want to astral project for a long time, but it just kind of drawn me to think, with great power comes great responsibility. That's why, I take all the quotes from the heroes and stuff, because, you know what I mean? I went there, man. I saw that. Almost got caught up by that. Like, when you really strive, you'll really see some amazing things out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. And like, and when I was just reminding people that this is a dream, like, because it was interesting. I did like that little YouTube broadcast yesterday, and I sort of said something similar. But I think for myself, like, the word dream is sort of transforming its definition. When I think of the word dream, like, it doesn't mean that, like, oh, it's something that happened that didn't actually happen, sort of thing. Like, dream ties in with this idea that everything is a dream. Like, dream refers to an experience that was had, and our knowledge, our vernacular, just refers to the idea of, like, dreaming as the act of the experiences that we have when we're asleep. But we're dreaming throughout the day, and the idea of dreaming refers to the relationship between the conscious observer and an environment, whatever that environment is, with the understanding that environments exist on multiple dimensions and frequencies. So just that simple reminder that dreams themselves have a moment equally as real and vivid as this one. So it's really interesting when you have something that's so vivid such as that, and so real such as that.
When I was a child, I was a really adept astro projector. Like, I used to miss my home so much to where I would astro project back to my house, and I would walk back in, and I would try to interact with stuff and, like, wake my parents up. But my hands would go through stuff, and I couldn't touch anything, really. But as I got older, I lost that connection with whatever helped me, like, do that easier, As you get older, you really got to try to understand more. It's like when you're younger, you're more innocent. You just have that willpower that just works. That's about it, man. I mean, that's really all I had to share. I mean, I know my story sounds really far-fetched, but it really happened to me. I mean, and I got to say I like what the terms you use, man. But just a little advice to everybody. It's always good to be cautious. You know what I mean? If you feel like you're astral projecting and you don't feel safe, go back to your body, man. Get up, write it in your journal, Use a buddy system, too. That's always helpful.
Yeah, that's an interesting topic, the idea of, like, having the idea of caution in the back of your mind when you're in the other dimensions, which, be like the dreamy dimensions, the astral projection, like just like when you're in those states, of just developing ways to sort of know how to deal with them. Because, I mean, ultimately people will say that within dreams everything is a reflection of yourself, but I think yes to that, but also everything is you sort of tapping into the everythingness that is everywhere. So, I mean, if you're seeing these, like, entities that are on another planet, then it's sort of like this quantum thing where either you're actually seeing something or it's just inside your reflection of yourself because you saw it in a movie one time. But still, like, it's more so about whatever lesson and experience you can get out of it, whether it's just through, like, actual knowledge or simply the feeling that the dream gave you. So, I mean, what out of that dream, Elias, like, what do you feel you got out of it, or, like, even just, like, through the way how you felt about it?
I felt like I learned a lesson, something about, I kind of felt like, in a way, us as the humans, we're the green guys. We're the little green guys just trying to chill, we got some blue guys that ain't trying to give out no hugs. They're trying to give out shanks. And, we gotta put the shanks down, and we just gotta keep giving the hugs out. And, it's just hard for some of us to I guess, accept it. You know, some people are just stuck in their ways. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Makes it harder for the will to turn.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's I can see that. It's a valuable lesson, and it's interesting. I'll just say this. I'll pass it over to Michael. That like the characters that you saw were green and blue. That's actually like not a coincidence in the idea that it's common for entities to appear as blue, because like that's the inverted color of the spectrum that we are commonly familiar with seeing things in right now. I've talked about this before, but the simple idea of like our skin, you know, like if we're Caucasian, it's more obvious. If you were to take a picture of us and invert the image, we would be blue. That's the inverted color of the cyan, is a skin color. So it's really interesting because like when you're on the astral planes, that reverse image filter veil isn't always on, which makes it more common to see entities as blue, which is why the Indians saw like their gods as blue.
The only reason why I said those guys are blue too is because they were taller. I mean, they did look blue to me, but they were taller. Like the green guys were kind of like, you know, little chubby Yodas, and the tall guys were like little skinny tall guys.
Interesting. Cool, man. Cool.
Green cloaks.
Well, maybe you'll get a chance to run into them again, man.
Well, hopefully they're all doing better. You know, and hopefully those three guys don't want to chase me down anymore. Maybe. Bygones are bygones, you know. You never know, but I'm all about that. So I don't mean to take much time for your show, but that's about all I had to share there. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, man. Reporting back straight from the astral, that's always interesting. It's a lot more exciting than just being like, oh yeah, you know, like I went like down to the street the other day and bought some milk at the store, but you know, almond milk preferably. You know, instead it's just like, oh, you know, like I blasted off onto another dimension and came back.
Oh yeah, some people astral project, like, you know, to see their friends. Like I know a couple of people that do that. Like they'll do that. But me, I think I have to repair my light body because I'm just having some issues getting out. I think it's that fear. That's my own demon I gotta face later. That's all. It's one meditation away. Yeah. But yeah. Yeah, cool, I'm just happy I got to share with you guys, and good work, man. You know, I'm actually catching up with the show. You know, I'm actually really behind, but yeah.
Well, I appreciate it. I appreciate you calling in, man.
Myself a shifter, bro. Oh yeah.
To have you on board. Like it's a good reminder, and we won't be able to get super into it, but it's a good reminder that all of us have the ability to experience things like more vivid dreams and astral projection, and just being able to like encourage people to sort of like continue to take steps towards developing that within themselves.
Yeah.
And step one is like, you know, write down your dreams among other things, obviously. But yeah, like if there's anything else,
but it's a process, you know. It's kind of like building Rome, because I always say that when I chat with you. It's hard work, but it's worth it, because it's the kind of work that starts from within. You know, it's in your heart, it's in your soul, it's in the deepest reaches of your mind. You know what I mean? You gotta set all these things straight. Then you go straight to the chakras. You know, it's all steps. You know, if you take them all, even if you think steps are stupid, as long as you believe and you do it, and you don't force it, you just feel it. You know, it's more about like feeling. I believe it's a feeling you feel. To me, it's like whenever I feel spiritual, I feel this tingly feeling sensation all over, like I'm turning Super Saiyan. You know, I know it sounds stupid, but that's how I feel. But yeah, that's it. And peace out, shifters. You know, I'll still be in the chat bar if anyone has any questions.
Cool, man. Yeah, post your Facebook profile in the chat, and I'll add it into the show notes on YouTube as well. That's awesome. And before you leave, we'll just pass it back to Michael. Michael, is there anything else that you just want to like share in response?
But yeah, dreams right now, especially astrologically, are going to be much more active. We've had a lot of solar flares and a lot of crazy alignments happening, and usually when that happens, our dreams become much more hyperactive and hyper-realistic. So it's a good time, too, if some lucid dreaming is something you want to practice, or astral projection is something you want to practice, this is a great time astrologically to do it. So, yeah, but write down the stuff you come back with. Your dream landscape is something that's important to tune into and to be aware of. But, proactive daydreaming, everything you can do right now to engage that space is going to be important. And it's supported astrologically, so do it.
Awesome. Yeah. We're reinforced by the alignment of the universe. So that's pretty cool. Bonus points, right? Awesome. All right, cool. Well, Elias, thank you so much, man. We'll stay in touch and looking forward to having you back on in the future. Cool. Oh, he dropped out. Okay, I guess. Swift exit there, ninja style. All right, thanks to Elias. All right, we're gonna bring on another caller. We got a caller from area code 407 who's in the queue. There's a couple other callers in the queue. I think we have Joel, but Joel's not queued up. But that's just because he's on Skype. And then there's somebody else on the Skype profile that's just showing up as live, and that's probably a glitch. And then hold on, let me just double check. Okay, so we're going to bring on a caller from area code 407, and then I think at the top of the hour at around 10 p.m., we're going to see if we hear from our good buddy Scott Love, the organizer for the 3 Days of Light. He's going to tell us a little bit about why we should be super excited about that and why you want to enter your name into the draw to get a free ticket to 3 Days of Light. And even if you can't go in the North Carolina area, feel free to pass it on to a friend. And a reminder that to enter that, send a message to facebook.com/ParadigmShiftRadio and let us know you want to go to 3 Days of Light. So there you go. All right, so we're passing it over to caller from area code 407. We're going to bring you onto the show. So caller from 407, bring you on. Here we go.
What up, Brendon? It's AJ.
Hello. Hey, AJ. Welcome. Good to
What's
you.
going on, man?
This is cool. AJ, have you and Michael must know. Have you guys met? Have you guys talked yet?
Yeah, we've spoken before on a last, it was an episode a little bit ago, a little while ago, and it was like sex taboo, death.
Yeah,
was
that's
like
right.
one of those episodes. So
that's right. Yeah, and Tom was on too and stuff. Yeah.
Right,
cool.
right. But I just want to say thank you. I got the free hugs shirt in the mail. I'm just going to use some more money because that was definitely an awesome thing to get. And now I'm orchestrating something downtown in Orlando, Florida, to basically. I talked to everybody at my restaurant and all of the conscious people that I know and people I don't know, and I was like, hey, what do you think about the idea of going downtown and, giving out free hugs? And everybody's on board. So right now I have 40 supporters, and now I want to create a Facebook page and try and get everybody together to really get this thing going and start doing things back in this community. And Michael, I just want to say thank you to you as well for doing this, because I know as for a gay man myself, the spirituality in our community is lacking. And it's been lacking for a long time. And a lot of the times it comes from, some of us were raised in Christian households and either were turned away or told that we weren't good enough or whatever, and then you lose all sense of spirituality because it's a thing to where you don't know where to go. You don't know what exactly what you align with, and there's really no guidance in that area. So you just kind of do what everybody else does, and so there really isn't any guidance in that area. And so what you're doing, I'm like 100% for. And that's the thing that I've been trying to do myself, I guess, in a certain way, is to try and educate our community that you can be spiritual, and it doesn't matter where you align with that, but that is a part of our being, and that's part of our essence, and there has to be some sort of connection to that, basically to feel whole, to feel like there's a purpose, to feel like there's more to something than just yourself, and to connect with that. So I really, really like that idea that you're going with, and I want to get linked up with you, and we'll talk about that later. We'll talk about it later, but thank you for doing that, because that's amazing, and it's something that definitely needs to be hit on more and more. So I just wanted to jump on and say thank you for that.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Michael, go ahead.
Michael, go ahead. Yeah, go, Michael, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, you're right. It is really important for us to, because there really isn't a lot of positive dialogue about spirituality in our community, and we have a very fractured community, and unfortunately we do live up to a lot of our stereotypes. We are we are very objectified. We objectify each other. We put each other in different tribes. We don't have a lot of unity. And the fact that we even break up our community using the alphabet says a lot about how distant we are from each other.
Right.
You know, until recently, I didn't know a lot about the transgender community. So I made it my mission to find out as much as I can, so that way I'm able to connect to that part of my community. And a lot of people consider that part a sub-layer of our community because they're left out of things like when we were doing the Don't Ask, Don't Tell repeal. We made it okay for gays and lesbians to be accepted in the military, but we didn't include the transgender community because if we did, it wouldn't have gotten through. So I feel there's a lot of fracturing that happens. But specifically in our community of men who love men, we a lot of times haven't had positive male role models, and we don't have positive male spiritual role models in our communities.
Correct.
And especially now, we don't even have positive leadership. You know, like Harvey Milk and these people who were our forefathers and our ancestors. We don't have that now. So we don't have a lot of positive space to look into and look up to. So it's dealing with all these issues like shame, especially internalized homophobia, claiming masculinity. Like, you know, you've seen a lot of the gay, you know, classified as, you know, masculine. I am masculine. Or, you know, we have to claim it because we feel we have to have that. But there's something that's so unique about being gay that allows us to walk between worlds. You know, it really is an empowering thing to take ownership of. And it's not something I would want to lose, to claim that I am feeding into some overculture script that says I have to be X, Y, and Z. I'd rather just be me and to understand my own spirituality and the power that I bring by claiming that spirituality. There's also a really great group called The Unnamed Path, and it was started by Eddie Gutierrez, who was a magic worker. He unfortunately passed away early this year, but you can go to theUnnamedPath.org, and the podcasts there are phenomenal, but it's about the magical aspect of spirituality, and it really inspired me. So I listened to these blogs, these little shows on my runs, and the more I listen to them, the more inspired I get. So then I decided, well, maybe we need to continue this conversation and to do more work on proactively engaging the shame in our community and that internalized homophobia. And what can we do to be more empowered and more powerful as individuals so that we can take that back into our community spaces.
Yeah, and you know, and I think it's you guys. You guys are this generation's role models in a lot of ways. AJ, with what you're doing, taking the steps forward to like building community, just, you know, community in general is such a huge part. And yeah, Michael, like through all the things that you do. And again, it's not like it's. I mean, outside of like a few of the things that you're making specific, like you're not saying like, you know, like, hey, like this is who I am and I'm like I'm super gay and gay and gay. You're just like, no, I'm Michael Brazel and I'm gay, but you know, that's right. Not what defines me. That's just like a part of who I am. And yeah, I think it's just really refreshing to see more people again, just like being able to not be held down by the society, like the cultures, the labels and everything that culture is trying to put on us. But yeah, just reiterating that. We're gonna bring on another caller soon, but we'll pass it back over to AJ. AJ, what else would you like to share with the global audience?
Well, one of the things, I started one of the first gay straight alliances in Florida when I was at Colonial High School here in Orlando, and for that it took about a year, but it was a lot of going through loops and all that other stuff, and having to almost going to a school board and having to do what I had to do. And I remember the moment that the group was created, and it's a group basically to bring everybody, straight, gay, bisexual, transgendered, anybody together that wanted to speak about issues much like Paradigm Shift Radio, that wanted to talk about issues that were going on in the community, issues that they were dealing with at home, things that, you know, we had gone through, and just a place of an open forum. And once it was created, I remember the sense of almost empowerment, but also a sense of dedication that I had to do. And I had lost that for a while. And now going into this, and now stepping away from that and, you know, going through regular life or whatever, now going back into the spiritual journey, I see how much is needed, and so I'm now taking up that role again, and stating that, hey, there are other people, because it's not, like I said, my sexual preferences, what I do behind, closed doors, what I do behind closed doors, has nothing to do with who I am as a spirit. It has nothing to do with my intent is, or what I want to see to progress people's minds in that certain sense, and to put people at ease, and to see others come up out of the darkness, as some would say, and into the light, and just let them know that everything's going to be okay. And so, I mean, like I said, thank you, Michael, for doing what you're doing. You guys have been a great support for me, and it's definitely helping me along the way. So I'm just sending light and love to both, to all you guys.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Totally, thank you, AJ, because again, the inspiration it goes full circle. It's collective, and having support for one another is such a valuable thing, and really just experiencing that more and more throughout the community, the digital and the physical community. So I mean, that's what we need to do when we see a person who's following that which inspires them, who's living their passion. One of the best things that we can do is encourage that. Whether or not they ask us what we think, go out of your way and be like, hey, I saw what you posted, or I saw what you did, and I think that's really cool. Those compliments will go a long way, and through that support, it just it reaffirms the direction of our spirit, and through that, it just continues to build, and again, through our expansion, consciousness expands. So with the theme of living the authentic self, we're actually going to set that up as a segue to bring our good friend Scott Love on and talk a little bit about 3 Days of Light Festival, and how that is a container for fostering an authentic space for authentic demonstrations of the self. AJ, would you like to say goodbye to the internet for now? And I'm sure we'll see you around in the Hangout and so forth.
Oh, of course. Goodbye, internet. Love you guys. I will see you guys later. And
awesome.
I love listening, so it's good to go.
And AJ, you can post your link into the Blog Talk profile, and we'll have it in the YouTube links as well. So cool. All right. Thanks again, AJ. Talk to you later.
Thank you.
Awesome. All right. So with that said, we'll bring on our good buddy Scott Love, and again, reminding you guys that if you want to win a free ticket to 3 Days of Light happening near Asheville, North Carolina, October 3rd to 5th, then send a message to facebook.com/ParadigmShiftRadio and let us know that you want to be entered in the draw. We'll be doing that later in the episode. So again, we're going to talk about 3 Days of Light. This is an amazing transformational festival. I got to experience it firsthand. And we're going to bring on one of the main organizer, Scott Love, our good friend, to be able to talk about it a little bit more. So Scott, if you're ready, we're bringing you back on the Paradigm Shift Radio. Here we go. Hello, Mr. Love.
Hello. How are you?
Good to hear you. Welcome back to Paradigm Shift Radio. Good to see you.
Oh, thank you. It's good to be back. Oh man, I was just thinking as I was listening how long it's been. It's been 2 years, just about 2 years since we connected before.
Yeah, it would have been, because previously the festival was in November, and this year you guys got it earlier in October. But yeah, by all means, passing the talking stick to you. Tell people why they should be excited about 3 Days of Light happening.
Oh, right on. Well, 3 Days of Light is exactly what it says. It's I hear a lot of different topics being discussed about how people are being oppressed this way, and we're being controlled that way. And, there's a lot of fear and there's a lot of anxiety and all those things that people are being pushed in with. And for 3 days, people get to just connect with each other, forget about all that crap, and just be present with, as you keep saying, their authentic self. There's no egos, there's no projections, it's just people coming. A lot of them don't know each other. So they just come and take that risk. Let me be who I really am. Let me talk about what I'm really interested in. And they're accepted and loved. And even if they sound off the wall to maybe mainstream society, with our community, they're not off the wall at all. In fact, they fit right in. And so 3 Days of Light is that opportunity for people to come and connect and just be happy for 3 days with no worries. And then learn a lot, too, because we have all those workshops.
For sure. And want to give us some examples of some of the workshops you guys are having?
Oh yeah. Well, we have there's a lot here. We have Sarah Lise Azrael coming in from California to do an amazing DNA activation and meditation. We have Ina Moon, who's doing a higher self regression, where she'll be taking a group of people down to, their root self, outside of, and away from the layers of crap and story that people have, to where they can really get into core with themselves. We have Johnny Nickel of Rising Light, who's bringing a community mindset discussion. We got a workshop on co-creating whole children, divine healing experience. There's all sorts of, there's so many. There's 35 of them. I can go on, I can read them here, but each one of them are going to be pretty deep. And they're all based on the 4 pillars of the Emergence Earth. And if you want to know more about that, you can go to emergenceearth.com. But that is sustainable living, natural health and wellness, personal and spiritual development, and then community and culture. So all of our workshops are based around helping each other, feel whole with themselves, then take that into the community, and then all of these communities together, raise the vibration of the entire planet. So that's what 3 Days of Light's about.
Yeah, absolutely. And I will say, with the weather changing to fall, I keep thinking about 3 Days of Light in the back of my mind, and I won't be able to be there this year, but this is one of the ways that I want to be able to help share with the community the fact that this is happening, and encourage people to go to it. If you're near North Carolina, if you're within driving distance, there's still time to get your tickets, and I highly encourage you to go to this if you've never been to a festival. It's a beautiful festival. The fall weather really sets the mood, so you sort of got that chilly air, but it gives you an extra reason to wear an extra layer around the fire late at night, and there's drumming going on and great conversation and beautiful people. And I think with these festivals, what really comes out of them is that, for me, they are this place where people go and they literally level up. And what I mean by that is, they gain experience, and more so than that, they gain confidence. And then, like Scott says, they take it out with them, out into culture. Scott, just maybe what is some of the feedback that you've had from the festival, and maybe just how you found growth within yourself, being able to organize it and experience it at the same time?
Okay. Yeah, there's a lot there in those 2 questions. We'll take them in order. The feedback I get from people is they just feel relieved. They feel relieved, and they feel like they found a family, and they can get out from behind their computer in these chat rooms and these websites where they connect with like-minded people, and can actually do it in the physical. There's also this really awesome thing that happens where someone might come to 3 Days of Light, searching. And they go to a workshop, and that workshop plants a seed. And they go back home, and they do some more research, and the next thing you know, they're being inundated with information. And as I hear from people all the time, I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life. I thought I was going to be strapped down to the 9-to-5, working for the system and being just another cog. But when I came to 3 Days of Light, I realized that, my spirituality, no matter what it is okay. And B, my frustration is being mirrored by all these other people, so they feel less alone, and they feel, there's power in numbers, which is why I love what you're doing with Paradigm Shift, man, because you have these little communities all over the place, and that's a great model. These people can connect together and share their ideas, their beliefs, their visions. One of the things we say through Emergence Earth is, what is your mission? Tell us what it is and how we can help you. And you're doing the same thing. You're providing people that voice box to express themselves. Now on to how it's affected me personally. That's the first thing I have to say is that every year, my personal standard of what is acceptable and what it's not raises for my personal choices and how I live my life. each year I'm both humbled and honored by these people from all over the world who want to come break bread with us, and this year right here, and this is a little more candid. This year, I'm really realizing the responsibility that I have as the host, as the one that's calling these people in. I have a certain responsibility, and that means just the ability to respond. I have this responsibility that says, okay, you can't. I just have to be able to juggle a lot of balls and not make excuses for when they fall. Just make sure I'm on it. Make sure I'm on myself. And it's how it's affected me also is it really gives me an opportunity to look at myself. I see these amazing, beautiful, inspired people coming from all over the world, and they tell their story, and I'm just like, wow, I thought I had it rough. I thought that my, the demons that I faced were intense. I thought that, my shadow was corrupting me, and all this other stuff. And then I hear these other people's story, and I hear how far they've come, and how, just through love, light, and community, they've turned it around for themselves, and that gives me personal hope. So, I have a pretty intense story myself. So.
Yeah, and I think that is totally, when we share our stories, that's a really inspirational thing, and it's a good place. It's a good place to do that. So yeah, thank you so much, Scott, for joining us. And again, I really do encourage people to check out the website, and if you're not able to go, and at least tell some friends who you might know who are in the area to check it out. And I know. Our good friend Billy Mays the third, he's gonna be performing a set. The renowned musician. He did all the soundtrack for Journey to Lucidity and 3 Days of Light. Great, wonderful guy. There's so many people who are.
Brendon,
Go ahead.
I just want to say you did an amazing job with that video, with the documentary for 3 Days of Light and for the Lucidity movie. Those are both. I mean, you did a really good job, man, and thank you. You captured the essence of the spiritual community that was at 3 Days of Light. That was fantastic.
For sure, and thank you for making a great container for the movie to take place in. So both met halfway in the middle there, and you're right. Yeah, that's what happens when people come together and they collaborate. So yeah, it's very good. Scott, was there anything else you want to say? We'll keep things rolling along. We got a couple of callers who want to jump on. But any other message?
Give me 30 seconds to give a shout out to the musicians that are playing at 3DL this year. We're really happy with the lineup we put together with Human Experience, Living Light, Shrikology, Kudos, Pneumatic, Treehouse, Sun-Dried Vibes, man, and the list goes on and on. There's kirtan performers, but it's really a testament to how far the event has grown in just 3 years. 3 years ago, we were blessed by having a lot of bands that weren't necessarily known, but they just really felt what we were doing and wanted to participate. And now this year, that's expanded exponentially to the level of talent and the vibes of the talent that's coming. And, so that's what's up. They're great. Amazing. If you guys haven't listened to Shrikology, listen to Shrikology. If you haven't listened to Hudos, listen to Hudos. There's a lot of amazing bands. In fact, there's a playlist right on the website, 3dl.com, 3dlgathering.com, that you can listen to it, and it's good music, good stuff, whether you come or not.
Awesome.
Introduce yourself to new music.
Yeah, nothing but lots and lots of inspiration there, and we encourage people to go there and to bring their art, bring their creative spirit, their element, whatever it is that they can bring to the festival, and because who knows, you just might find yourself along the way, and that's what the great part about this ongoing journey is that we're constantly finding new parts of ourselves. So thank you so much, Scott, once again for joining us, and I look forward to from hearing how things go, and I know it'll be a beautiful experience, and I will be there in spirit as always. We are everywhere in spirit, so I will be there in spirit. And
Hey, I just want to let you know we're also putting together an amazing memorial for our good friend and dearly beloved Phoenix. Phoenix was an amazing being and touched a lot of people, and so just want to give Phoenix and the family that loves and supports Phoenix the work that he does a shout out, because you guys are powerful.
No, thank you for doing that, because like that is, that was a big part of the 3DL experience from my own memory, was being able to meet Phoenix there. And those, long story short, those who don't know Phoenix, good, very prominent member within the spiritual online community, and he passed away about this time last year. It was around mid-October, and he was a guest on a previous episode of Paradigm Shift Radio, which you can find it through the archive. But no, that's great to be able to have a memorial, a commemoration for him at the festival, because I think out of that, what I always got out of that is the idea of like his spirit lives on through the love that we continue to share. So I know Spirit is very happy to be able to see you, Scott, still so adamantly involved with creating this festival. So nothing but good times. So again, thank you very much. Awesome.
Much love to you, brother. Thank you for the opportunity.
All right. Cool. So again, 3dlgathering.com. Everybody check that out. That's Scott Love. You can find him on Facebook. I'll post a link to his profile in the YouTube notes for this episode. So Scott, thank you again, and just say farewell to the internet for now.
For now, brother. Much love. Bless.
All right. Talk to you later, man. Peace. Cool. All right. So again, remind you guys, if you want to get into the ticket draw for 3DL, send a message to facebook.com/Paradigm Shift Radio and let us know you want to enter into the draw. Do that now, and we'll do the draw at the end of the episode. And again, that's happening next weekend. So this is something where it's like, well, like who would have thought you were going to a conscious festival with only a week away, and then suddenly it's gonna be an amazing adventure for you that's gonna open up new opportunities and turn you into more of who you are. So good times. So awesome, Michael, you're still here with us? Yep,
still here.
Awesome. All right. Cool. All right. So let's see what we got in the queue. We got a couple other people on Skype, but they don't got their queue button queued up, but we're gonna bring them on. We got our buddy Joel, but we're gonna bring Joel on in a second. I think he can wait, and if that's not a problem. And it's been a while since I've heard him, but I just see some new people in the queue that I would like to be able to bring on first. And there's a person in the queue who's under the Skype name Global Political Awakening. So haven't had them on the show, or maybe we have, I don't know, but that's the mystery of it. So caller from Skype, Global Political Awakening, we're going to bring you onto Paradigm Shift Radio. So if you're ready, here we go. Hello,
hi.
Caller.
Yeah, hey. I wasn't planning on talking. I just tuned in. There at the very last, at the introduction, you sounded exactly like the person who introduced me to your show, and that is Kate of God.
What's that? Say that again. I'm confused.
Kate Renee.
Kate. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay. So you've called into Kate's show. Kate of Gaia.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, let me just tell you.
I understand.
I'm actually very new to all of this. So, about a week ago, I called into Kate's show. I just stumbled upon her show.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. Kate's a good friend of ours. She's been on an episode of Paradigm Shift Radio in the past, and she has her own blog talk show, Critical Mass Radio. I'll post a link for that in the profile as well in the blog talk notes. But yeah, please call her if you would like to introduce yourself with a name, perhaps where you're calling from. And I know you weren't expecting to come on the air, but if there's anything you want to share, be it just an observation or any particular insight that you would like to pass on to the global audience, please, by all means.
Well, my name's Mark, and I'm calling from Arkansas. I'm enjoying listening to your show. I'm a first-time listener, and the 3 Days of Light sounds wonderful. I wish I could be there and enjoy, connecting with all the other wonderful spirits that will be present. So far I've only had the opportunity to connect with people in via the internet. So I'm just really, my curiosity has been piqued. I've just been so. I feel like whenever I tune in to Kate's show, for example, is that I hear everything that I hear resonates deep within me, and in a way that I've never experienced in my entire life. And so it's opening up so much. It's like the gift of life. So I'm just really, I don't know what else I can say that I can offer, but I'm glad to be, here listening to your show and getting, to have this experience.
Well, again, thank you for joining us, and yeah, no, I think what you're saying there is a good just reiteration of how you've been able to find inspiration in ultimately what is something quite simple, and that is being able to hear other people openly talking about the things that we don't normally get a chance to talk about. Maybe I'll just sort of ask you, like, what are the things that at this point you sort of find yourself being interested in learning more about? Maybe some of the things that Kate's talked about that have really sort of resonated with you that you want to learn more about.
Well, the difficulty with this is being able to articulate exactly what it is, okay? So that's the difficulty that I face. But the best way I can explain it is to say that I feel that there have been some things that have happened in my life leading up to this moment over the past few years, which after I tuned into Kate's show and began to listen to the spirits speaking there, I began to recognize them, and I feel connected. It's like we're all one. It's like it's a consciousness. We're all connected. We're one.
Mm-hmm. And is that something where like a couple of years ago?
I've never been exposed to this. I grew up. My father was a Pentecostal preacher. I had no exposure to any of this, so this is all new to me. I don't know anything about the shifting of the paradigm from Pisces to Aquarius. I know nothing about any of that. So this is all new to me, but I know it resonates with me.
Mm.
That's the beauty of it, is that I hear the truth. I know it's the truth. And so it's a very deep experience. It's something I've never experienced within the confines of religion.
That's very exciting. I'll pass it over to Michael. I'm sure there might be some things you would feel free to jump in on. Go ahead, Michael.
Yeah, I think that's where what happens with a lot of us is we come in from a more indoctrinated religion, and then we start seeking the information to fill in the gaps, and because my basis was Christianity, and I still hold to a more esoteric version of Christianity, but I think we have that foundation, but we start to realize there are not everything can be answered, and we start to seek our own connection to source. And typically in a lot of the more Abrahamic religions, you have there's that intermediary between you and God, or you and divinity. And then we start to realize, well, I don't need that person anymore. We start to look at what else is there out there. And I call it getting spiritual ADD, because we really start to look at everything, and we start to question reality. And we start to have these new ideas about who we are and what our connection to the world around us is. So, yeah, just keep exploring. There's so much out there.
It's like you're viewed, people such as yourself, and I don't know you per se, personally, but I know people that I've heard on Kate's show, are viewed as the Antichrist, and it's just the opposite. It's not that,
Mm-hmm.
That is the Christ.
Yeah. Yeah, that's always that conversation in itself really opens up an interesting thing, or at least the idea of who is Lucifer, and the idea that Lucifer is the light bearer, and that's something that I think a lot of us just hear that, and the fact that it's juxtaposed and it's opposite to this idea that Lucifer is the bad guy. We're just like, well, wait a second, hold on. I think this needs further investigation. Have you heard some about that, caller? The idea that Lucifer isn't the bad guy, quote unquote. Has Kate talked about that recently?
No, I've not heard a lot of discussion about that, or at least I didn't receive it if it was discussed. But I do know, I'm familiar with the Theosophical Society, and I'm familiar with Alice Bailey and others that what is the originator of that? Blavatsky, is that the name?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. And so I'm familiar with some of that, and so I know that a lot of these esoteric societies and the occult is filled with people that have just it really, I think, perverted a lot of the symbols and a lot of the purpose, you know, and one of the greatest gifts of tuning in to Kate's show is there was someone who joined the show, had been listening for over a year, and just called into the show 2 days after I did, and it's like the mirror image of Kate. It's like listening to Christ Himself. The beauty of it. The awareness. And the ability to articulate so beautifully the concepts involved. And his name's Clay. And if anybody's never heard of Clay or heard him speak, they need to tune in to Kate's show, because he is just, amazing. Just as amazing as Kate and everyone else that tunes in and speaks. So I've just been. That's really been my source in the last week, and it's opened my eyes to so many things that I had never been exposed to.
Mm-hmm. And that's good, and I'm glad that you found that source. I think that's an important thing, is for us to sort of do that, to sort of step into the realms of the internet and to sort of pick and choose communities that we resonate with. And definitely I would recommend Kate's radio show. I just posted a link into the live chat. Run a search on the Facebook. Run a search on Kate of Gaia discussion group. So KATE of Gaia, GAIA discussion group, and you'll find that, and then that's where you'll get the ongoing links for her shows. And she does them like literally. It's like, I think it's almost 7 days a week, or 6 days a week at least. She's been doing it for a while, and is so dedicated.
7 days a week.
It's
like 3 hours. The show's for 2 hours, but she rolls over to 3 hours.
Yeah.
It's amazing. I do not understand how someone's able to do it. It amazes me.
It's next level for sure. Awesome. Well, there's even just a couple of things there that you were talking about related to like the idea of like the theosophy and Blavatsky and stuff like that. And I think we actually do have a caller that I'd be happy to bring on once we sort of sync that up. I'm going to double check, but I'll just pass over to Michael just as I'm doing anything. Michael, was there anything else, or did you want to can you just hit upon the idea of what I was talking about Lucifer being the light bearer? Yeah. Just give us a little bit.
Yeah, I was actually having a discussion yesterday with someone. We were discussing, how the mythos of Lucifer, it gets twisted and distorted because his name is Morning Star, and Christ was also called the Morning Star. So one of the ideas is that, in the Garden of Eden, before the separation, and that's really what it was. It wasn't that we fell from grace or that we did something wrong. It's that Lucifer and these other beings, these watchers, came down to give us the ability to use our free will. They give us the choice, So it wasn't like the snake shoved the apple down Eve's throat. It was like, eat it. What's the worst that can happen? And at that moment, when we decided to take the choice, we realized that our choices have consequences. And that's where our separation started. But even when Jesus is going to be tested, he is tested by, what the Christians deemed him Satan, which is the more negative connotation. But he's challenged by Lucifer, and had this happen through a state of deep fasting. So we look at it as he is talking to himself. It is the shadow element of who he is, because it is the morning star challenging the morning star. And it's that true initiation when we go into the shadow and we pass the test of the shadow that we come out on the other side more whole. So that's one of the ideas, that Lucifer wasn't always a bad guy. He still isn't a bad guy. It's just that we sometimes need, as humanity, a bad guy to keep us in line. But they're the ones who come down and help us to understand what our choices are. Because, we have free will, but without the conflict, without the edge of our experience, we'll just sit here. We're just kind of like, they were just chilling in the garden, just kind of hanging out. Nothing was happening. So then the snake had to come along and give them the choice. And we made a choice. From that point on, our choices have been, we see that the ripple effect happens. So I think, we sometimes bastardize what we don't understand. But when you really get deep down into the esoteric side of it, and you start digging a little bit deeper into the subtext, you see that there is greater meaning there. So Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Or the apple out with the snake, you know.
Yeah. Awesome. I'll thanks, Michael. Caller, sorry, I've forgotten your name accidentally, but I was just going to pass it back to you.
That's okay. It's Mark.
Mark.
That was a beautiful explanation and or description of what was referenced earlier about Satan as the light bearer. My concept of it is so or your concept of it is so foreign to me. But the best way I can understand it is to know that within me are both good and evil, and I have a choice. And for me, what I'm learning is that I am a spirit, having a human experience. I'm just in this physical reality is nothing but an illusion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just one version.
Yeah, and so it's just it's from the literal to the spiritual, and that's what I'm beginning to understand. And I'm not able to articulate it as well as you, but I know that it resonates with me. I know it's true, and that's really what's important. What I've come to understand is that what we're experiencing right now, and some people look at it as or look at it from the perspective of the zodiac, for example, and Pisces, and the new age of Aquarius, and that we're experiencing an expansion and a quickening, and that's where we are, and so that's why people like me are coming in, and so many others,
Yeah, and I do find that fascinating because, I mean, even, like 5 years ago when I was sort of coming into this myself, that was part of my understanding of the theory, is that the consciousness awakening, so to speak, was sort of like this ongoing exponential thing, that it's the 100 monkey effect. As more of us start to get it, it becomes more easier for others to be able to get it, and they actually start getting it sooner and quicker. And in a lot of the ways through that, a lot of ways to that is through the crystallization of information and the delivery of it through things such as this radio show that didn't necessarily exist 5 years ago. So now people can just click on a link and sort of be brought up to speed on a lot of things. But I think, Mark, it's really interesting that for you yourself, being someone just sort of grown up inside the Catholic Church in Arkansas, who now has found a natural pull towards some of these spiritual topics that in themselves are sort of rooted back to a lot of Eastern philosophy and mysticism. And I think it's because that in itself has a lot of there's a lot of tradition to those ideas that have been passed on from generation to generation. The Catholic Church is actually a fairly new thing when you get down to it, whereas these traditions have been around for eons, and that's because they've been able to withstand the test of time. And maybe the Catholic Church won't necessarily be around in the next couple thousand years in the same way, and we've already seen that decline. So it's good that people aren't feeling the need to prescribe to the title of a specific religion, but rather are writing their own Bible by living their own experience and understanding that everything is a life lesson, and regardless of whether or not you're attached to a dogmatic belief. So yeah, it's really cool. Mark, thanks again for calling in. It's an inspiration to hear that there are people out there who are engaging themselves in the process of learning and growing, because you're helping everyone, and I'm sure that you'll be able to have some conversations with friends and then the ripple effect continues out further from there. So thank you for what you've done, and thank you for what you'll continue to do.
Well, thank you. And here's an important distinction. I just wanted to add this, is that, it's not that I've never been exposed to, I studied religion in college, okay? And so it's not that I've never been exposed to these other religions, the Eastern religions and thoughts and New Age and all of that. I've been exposed to it. But here's the difference, is that I believe that we have reached a point in time in this physical universe where there is an expansion, a quickening taking place. And that's why it is resonating with me now.
Mm-hmm. I like that phrase, quickening, especially for me, because that takes me back to the movie Highlander, which you may have seen.
Yes, absolutely.
Classic.
Yeah. Awesome. All right, cool. All right, well, Mark, please feel free to add me on Facebook, facebook.com/skullbabylon, or send a message to the Facebook page. I would love to connect with you on Facebook, and I'll add your profile to the show notes as well. Is there anything else that you just wanted to add in real quick? We're going to move on to another caller in the next minute.
No, thank you. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much, Mark. It's a pleasure having you on, and look forward to having you join us in the future. So until then, take care, Mark. Say bye to the internets. All right. Okay. So there's Mark from Arkansas joining us there. And we're going to continue moving along here, but as per the suggestion of Oliver in the live chat, we're actually going to end this show with a group meditation, which is something that we haven't done officially in the last few episodes. So it'll be good that we'll do that. We'll check in with that with 5 minutes or 10 minutes left. We also will do the draw for the 3 days of light ticket. And again, you guys know how to enter in for that. I would like to be able to do the button draw, but I also want to be able to ask if somebody would like to be able to sync up as the donator for this episode, and just a donator and in general to be able to help support this community show. If you want to do that, if you want to help support the future of Paradigm Shift Radio, then go to paradigmshiftcentral.com/donate, or you can find the link in the show notes for Blog Talk. There's the community tip jar that you can see. And also, one of the ways that you can support the community is also by ordering the new super awesome pink on black Open Your Heart shirts. You can find that at teespring.com/openyourheart. And again, the link for that is also in the info for this Blog Talk show. Check those out. There's the sweater version. I know a lot of people are pretty excited about the sweater. It's going to get chilly soon, so let's get some cool, conscious sweaters on, and we'll use those as tools to help sort of hack the matrix, to definitely help hack the matrix. It's just one of the continuously ongoing exciting ways that we can plant seeds of love where we are and continue to do awesome things. So we'll check in with that later in the show, and I'll talk to people in the live chat and get them synced up with that. In the meantime, we're going to bring on our good friend Jessica Starshine. She has some things that she wants to add onto this, and then after that we're going to bring on our buddy Michael, and we'll see if we can bring Joel on. Nothing personal, Joel. I know you can be patient. Michael has an interesting story to share, just sort of foreshadowing it. He took part in like a secret society ritual ceremony type thing, quote unquote. So we'll hear a little bit more about that later on. So in the meantime, we're going to bring on Jessica Starshine. So Jessica, if you're ready, bring you on to Paradigm Shift Radio. Here we go.
Hello.
Hello, Jessica. Welcome to Paradigm Shift Radio.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Awesome. If you can, just talk a little loud. Your mic's a little quiet, if you can.
Can you hear me better now?
No, it's still pretty quiet. I don't think I can really adjust that on my end. Just put the microphone like next to your face as much as possible. But just go ahead. We'll bring it up in post.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Is this better?
I'm sure it's good enough. It's okay.
Okay. I can't really speak that loudly because there are people sleeping in this home, so, and the walls are thin. Yeah, I was going to talk about transcending belief, and it would tie in kind of nicely to what you guys were discussing. So lately what I've been noticing in my reality is that a lot of people have been, well, I mean, it's kind of what everybody's been talking about on the show, is that there's a lot of changes going on within us, and there's a lot of changes going on in the world as a result of that. And naturally what we believe in, ideas like religion or who and what we think we as multidimensional beings, all of that stuff is coming up for review. And just to share, again, some of my own experience and journey with what I've been playing around with is so transcending belief. And it actually, the idea of it came from a friend of mine named Joshua Townsend, and he does this really interesting fear removal exercise where he takes you into your memories of your experience on Earth. So from the time you were a child, it could even be from the time you were inside of the womb. And the idea is that our reality is created or based on everything that we're believing it to be, including our own selves. And I guess this could kind of tie into really anything or everything. And maybe not everybody's here to transcend their beliefs, or maybe not everybody's here to transcend the reality. But there might be some people out there listening that are interested in doing that. And I've been noticing a lot of people exclaiming that they don't feel like they feel like there's a tremendous amount of change that needs to happen in the world, and they themselves as individuals are feeling kind of slighted by it. And I think we all maybe are experiencing that in bits and pieces or in fleeting moments. But I would like to instill some hope based on this idea of transcending the belief that our experience of being human is sometimes very grand. Sometimes we have a glimpse of how multidimensional we are, and sometimes we just view ourselves as this tiny little speck in a much bigger picture. But the idea that we're all on Earth experiencing various realities is kind of a testament to the greatness that we are. And it's a testament to our ability as an adaptive species to overcome and transcend and adapt to changes or shifts in our reality. And so the idea that playing around with this idea that our belief is what ties us into a particular vibratory pattern or repeated experience. So something that I've been playing around with is if I feel like my life is going nowhere and I feel like I'm not accomplishing what I'd like to do, so maybe I'm looking at myself as a really tiny speck in that case, I look at the belief that's holding me into that experience, and I ask myself a bunch of questions like, what is the core belief that I'm holding about myself? What is the core belief that I'm holding about my experience? For example, the fact that we name the objects in our existence, like this is a computer that I'm talking on, that's a belief, right? So this could be a computer, or it could be something totally different. So for example, I could be a small speck in my life, or I could be something majorly significant. And I think I touched on this point in another show, which is that you can create a tremendous amount of change just by being, right? Just by existing. And, yeah. I kind of lost my train of thought there for a minute. Got caught up in it. But,
do you want to take a breath? I'm sure Michael could jump in with something.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure, teamwork, pass the ball. Look.
Yeah, well, I think this is a good time to question our systems of belief and the structures that we're tied into, and and that's all part of doing like shadow work and coming up to the edge of our experience, because it's until we put our hands in the soil of our life that we see what needs to grow and what needs to die. And I think sometimes we hold on to beliefs so rigidly that we don't allow for the limitless to be part of our experience. And that is, that is source. Source is limitless, and we put it into these little boxes and we compartmentalize it in a way that sometimes doesn't allow us to even see someone else's perspective, which is why sometimes we see religion. I had a discussion with a friend of mine recently, and he got into this like big blog war on his Facebook page with someone who was an intellectualized religious person, and you can't really wrap words around experience. And a lot of us, who leave some of the more structured religions do so because people try to tell us what this book says that and that book says this. Well, your book can't wrap its words around my experience. It's a deeply personal one, and I think that's what we're doing, and we're coming into a much more experiential way of expressing our connection to divinity. So it does require us to let go of some of those old ideas and to not cling so tightly to things that, take away that vastness. And I think that's a beautiful thing because it lets us be limitless.
Mm-hmm. Jessica, go ahead if you want to.
That was beautifully beautifully put. I just wanted to kind of talk about Facebook for a minute because it seems to be very... I have to say this. So the internet is an interesting tool, right? Because it allows us to connect with things kind of instantaneously. But I think a lot of us are realizing that we are much more, if we transcend the belief that we're limited to the internet, we realize that we actually have vast capacity to connect with all things, including people, places, situations, events, telepathically. So I just wanted to throw that out there and say to people, like, Facebook is not the only way to connect with people. It's not the only way to stay connected. And I personally, I appreciate it for the tool that it is. Mm-hmm. However, I do see us transcending it. And I just want to encourage people to move beyond their belief that the internet or Facebook or, a book or a show or whatever is the only truth or the only way. And, challenge people to expand and actually get together with people in person, in a circle, in the same room, and talk about ideas or share ideas that way, because that is the original Facebook, and that is the Facebook that's going to stand the test of time.
Totally. Yeah. And that's exactly what the paradigm shift communities are about. That's a huge part of my life. The idea that every week I get to go to a place where I can meet my friends and we can sit down and we can see each other. We're not exchanging status updates. We're actually sharing actual vibrations face to face. And it's been more and more common that people in the community are becoming more comfortable with hugging each other. And it's a beautiful thing, because I remember back where there was a time where it wasn't super common, or at least it wasn't happening as frequently, and now it's becoming more frequent. And part of that has just been through myself as a leader being the one who says all right, group hug, everybody stand up. And everyone's like, okay, all right, whatever. And they think it's silly at first, but once you actually get into a group hug, and this is a spiral hug where you have a line of people and then you sort of roll up like a cinnamon roll. And then we did this at the end of the Look Festival, and we've done this at a few Paradigm Shift meetings. But you just sort of close your eyes and you all synchronize your breath. And then you just begin to notice that there's this slight sway, and there's just a slight circular sway that the whole group begins to do, and it begins to become one movement. And as your breath synchronizes, then you can bring in a simple mantra. So you can bring in an Om. So you have your whole group just doing an Om collective together, and then you do that 3 or 4 times, and everybody's buzzing. They can feel there's a visceral sensation to this, something that for a lot of people they've never had before. And then out of that, you can get even more creative with it. You can sing a simple mantra or whatever it is. We were doing a few of them, just the idea of saying I love you, repeated as a song. And that was something, it was a beautiful moment at the end of Look Fest. We had a great circle unity discussion, and then we wrapped up into a cinnamon roll. And that was the way how we ended the festival. And then I said, all right, 3 more Oms, everybody do their Om. And then when we did that, and we're like, all right, 1 more bonus Om. This one's for everyone. This one's for the world. And then we did, oh, and really feeling it. And after that, it sort of went to silence. And then with that, with my eyes closed, I just began to sing, and I just began to sing, I love you, 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 I love you. And then it picked up, and then other people started singing it, which was my intention, right? And then, right away, some people were on it on the second verse. And then collectively, just being able to do that in this moment, and it's the closest place that we can get to feeling like we're back in the womb, and it feels like home, and it's such a special thing, and it's something that we carry with us throughout the rest of our weeks, our months, and our experiences that we pass on to other people. So again, yeah, that's something that you can poke people on Facebook, it's true, but you can't give them a proper hug on Facebook. There's no button for that just yet.
Can't cinnamon roll them on Facebook.
That's the next thing. Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, Jessica, we're just going to keep you on the line, but we're going to bring on our good buddy Michael, and then we're going to aim to get a short meditation into this, even if it's just for a couple minutes. But I know Michael has an interesting story to share. So, Michael, we're going to bring you onto the air. This another Michael, so 2 Michaels onto the air, and you're going to share with us a little bit of a recent experience that you have. So, Michael from area code 512, bringing you on to Paradigm Shift Radio. Here we go. Yes, please. Zelda song.
Yeah,
by all means.
I'm glad to. Well, thanks for bringing me on. I passed out, a little while ago, so Yeah, sorry about that. I'm here now, though. Very interesting experience. Did you have any questions, like how you want to get into this, or?
If you can give us a short version. So basically, you went to like a ceremony for what? And what happened?
It's called the Gnostic Mass. And it was basically something that was created. It's somewhat like a Catholic Mass, I guess. It was created by Aleister Crowley, which probably more than anyone, say, if I've studied, I mean, I didn't go to a college to study him or anything, but if there was probably a spiritual prophet or so that I studied, it would probably be him. So it was really interesting when I went there. Basically, I went there, and it was this little place, like it was almost like a yoga studio. It had this little door, and it said OTO, Scarlet Woman's Lodge, and I went in there, and there's little kids playing Pokemon. And, sooner or later it gets time to do the ritual, and they pull me aside and say, okay, this is your first time, we're going to experience this. So a lot of singing and a lot of interesting things going on, and they gave us a cake that was like infused like with menstrual blood.
Wait, what? I'm sorry, you just crossed the line. I wasn't expecting we were going to cross.
Okay, my bad.
But yeah, like you posted. I mean, you said there was like a woman who was had very few articles of clothing on, and that was like part of the ceremony. So again, like from me just sort of seeing you talking about that, I'm like, ooh, this is radical. Like like this is different. And again, like Crowley is a very interesting fellow exploring the realms of consciousness and practical magic. But yeah, no, give us a little bit about that. Yeah.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, well, I didn't mean to cross any lines or.
No, by all means.
Like what happened, ate a cake basically, and it's interesting that you go by Babylon, because what this lady was really representing was really, well, they call her the Scarlet Woman or the Whore of Babylon. But really is just this woman that is just completely loving, like knows no bounds, just completely unconditional love. So basically, you go up, you drink a whole cup of wine. It's not like a Catholic Mass where it's just this like tiny little dot, wine. They gave us like a whole cup of wine, and you eat this cake, and you basically go and you kneel before this naked lady on the altar and basically say, you partake of this, and then you say, there is no part of me that is not of the God. And then you basically go and sit down. But it's just eye-opening because, I wasn't born in Africa. You don't see women with that less clothing on and in front of an altar. So it was eye-opening, totally.
Yeah.
You don't see that every day.
Michael, have you ever been to one of them rituals?
I've been to a lot of rituals.
Ceremony? Yeah.
Yeah, I've been to lots of different ceremonies and rituals, and see odd things out there, and people getting some interesting things. It's all to build the cone of power to connect to whatever divinity they want to connect to. But yeah, it can get pretty funkadelic sometimes. You never know. Like you show up and next thing you know, there's naked people running around and like sacrifices.
It was beautiful though. I mean, it's like, because this is a married woman, and so obviously you have to have a form of spiritual maturity to say like, okay, like she's naked, that doesn't mean I can touch her or anything. This is like reverberation. Like there's this level of like spiritual maturity. I think it's kind of lost in the West, but it's like this level of spiritual maturity, just saying that, okay, she's portraying the divine feminine, and we have to respect this as such. You know, it's not like you've never seen a naked woman before, or so it's basically like that. It was really an interesting experience.
Totally, yeah, man. Like
I'm surprised Andy didn't come with me, but
Yeah. Well, I was just going to say real quick, and we'll move into our closing meditation. You're in area code 512. Elias is in area code 512. You guys probably live down the street, so you should probably connect with one another or something. And then,
That would be awesome.
Cool,
Thanks
cool.
so much
awesome.
for letting me, share the experience and everything, man.
Well, it's interesting. Thank you for being able to report back on it, because, I mean, yeah, stuff like that is going on. But, I mean, yeah, like, that's the idea is that, said and done, it wasn't like this super, like, spooky thing, but it was actually, like, more a thing about being able to, like, see the godness right in front of us in the form of a beautiful woman, amongst other things in the ceremony. It was about, like, stepping into our potential. And what is the saying? What is the saying that they commonly use within the sort of do what thou wilt shall be upon?
They say that's like a prayer, sort of like like you say amen, we say amen. It's like do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law, and then there's a pause, and there's love is the law, love on will.
Mhm.
So that's how they open and close everything,
Cool. So on a future episode of Paradigm Shift Radio, we'll get a little bit more into some of the traditions and teachings that Crowley helped set up through some of the studies that he was putting out there. And long story short, interesting thing, through mere coinciding incidents, synchronicity, the symbol sort of associated with it's crossing my name. Like the school, what's the name of the school that Crowley like created? It's not Theosophy, but it's like it has like a separate name or whatever. I forget. But
the OTO?
No, I'm thinking of something else. Just like the name of
the
like
AA.
Like the symbol, like not the name of the symbol, but like the name of like the practicing group or whatever.
Oh, Thelema.
Thelema. Yeah. That's what I was thinking. So
okay.
Yeah. Anyways, the symbol for Thelema is like the two. Basically, it's like the two middle pieces of the paradigm shift sigil overlapping one another. Which again, you see that that's taken out of like the original rune, which was on the last episode that we had when we were talking about that with Calum. But just a coincidence. So I mean, I'm personally.
I was just gonna say something real quick, if that's cool.
Sure, go ahead, real quick, because it'll be an
interesting tidbit. It's basically the Legend of Zelda where you see like the bird and the triangle.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually one of the OTO symbols. Right
on. So yeah, it shows up everywhere. So very cool stuff. Yep. Yeah. We'll talk about that. We'll get into more of that in a future episode. So with that said, we're gonna have to wrap things up here. State the obvious, because time is of the essence, and we'll be moving into the after party hangout as per usual. And you can find the link for that at facebook.com/Paradigm Shift Radio. So just going over the final few things, and we'll just end with some simple breaths. The winner, this is big. So the winner for the 3 days of light draw is none other than, I did the draw earlier, is Jessica Besner. Jessica Besner. I'm pretty sure she's listening right now. I knew it. So Jessica wins, and hopefully she'll be able to go. And I'm super excited. That she gets to go. And also for the winners for the shift button draw is. Wait, hold on. Wait, hold on. Oh, okay, never mind. Okay, I gotta think something else. Hold on. Because it was like through a computer program that I had set up, and then I lost the window for that, but it was somewhere. There it is. Okay, sorry. Because I had it earlier, I pulled it, and then I like misplaced the link. Anyways, so this week for the shift buttons is Hayden Baker. So shout out to Hayden Baker, and of course, if anybody would like to support the future Paradigm Shift Radio, please feel free to donate. That's what we do to be able to help get the shift buttons out there to more people. And with literally only 60 seconds left in the show, let's just sort of do a quick closing meditation as we connect with our breath. So if you guys just want to join me in doing this real quick. So let's just take a moment here, and everybody just take a breath nice and deep. So inhale through the nose, exhale through the nose. Just crystallize the next 30 seconds with the intent to be able to bring balance into ourself, to echo balance out into the world. Some gentle inhales, bring in courage. Exhale, intent. So with that said, the episode is concluding now. The live broadcast is going off the air. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening. We're going to wrap this up in saying goodbye to the internet. So again, ParadigmShiftCentral.com, Facebook.com/ParadigmShiftRadio. I'm Skull Babylon. Thank you so much for joining us once again. Everybody who's here with me, say farewell to the internet. Until next time, bye-bye, internet. Bye-bye.
May the force be with you.
Bye, internet.
God bless, internet.
There you go. All right. Okay. Cool, guys. Man, we're so smooth at this. We're really good, aren't we? Awesome. So professional. Okay. High fives all around. All right. Thanks, guys. One love.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Paradigm Shift Radio. If you would like to connect with people where you are and continue the conversations further, then check out ParadigmShiftCentral.com/buttons to order your supply of shift buttons to share with people to help invite them to this global project while also helping make new friends and building local community where you are. Shift buttons are tools to hack the matrix and tap into the synchronistic nature of reality to accelerate our collective awakening. Enter the promo code PSR into your order to receive additional bonus buttons to your supply. Thank you again, and one love.